I think you can maybe hear or see me. I don't know. It's always the question, of course. So, but I think I'm connected. Just let me know if you can see and hear me. Just showing you a little bit of the background over here. It's always spectacular. And I think I see Fran and Trisha at least. So, but maybe more people already here. It's still about 5 minutes before we start. So I'm hoping you all having a good time already. I see 14 people. Wow, there are already 14 people earlier than I was. So I think just let me know if you can hear me, not only see me. So I see hi Stefan. So yes, I'm back. I'm finally back. I know it has been a little longer. Too busy with a million other things like a new apartment, a new office. Don't even let me start. All good. Audio is good. Video is great. Yeah, I know. Only my face. I mean, without my face, it's a lot better, I think, than we see the beautiful city. So we'll start in about 3, 4 minutes. So welcome everyone already. So we have, yeah, what is it? 4 or 5 minutes before the official tour is starting. I just wanted to make sure that everything was perfect because I'm not using this app as much as I've been doing before. So it's always a little, and it's also I'm in another country, so I had to check if everything was working well. So, but I think it is. So that's good. So let's see, who do we have? Hi, Michelle. Hi, Fran. Welcome, Leslie. Hi, Ronnie Lynn. Also, welcome, of course. Well, we have already I think, a beautiful background. Hi, Natalie. Welcome in Antwerpen, just over the border. I'm not in the Netherlands right now. Hi, Susan. Also, welcome. Hi, Laurie. It's good to see you again. I see a lot of love is going around. So hopefully you're also seeing other tours from other guides too, because I know there are several. I know several of my colleagues are still doing tours. I mean, I think today in the last days there were several ones from Anna, from John, from Hi Adrian, from a cold Boston. So yeah, I was seeing that in the US it was already freezing temperatures quite early this year. I mean, over here it feels like spring. It really feels like spring, and you can maybe see it little behind me that there's even some beautiful sun. It's a blue sky. There's some sun on the tower. Today it's about, I think, about 15 degrees Celsius. So what is that? It's about 60 Fahrenheit. So it's not bad at all. So let's see. It's warm in London. Yeah, it's not only warm in London. It's also London is not that far away, of course, from here. So it's also quite warm in Antwerp. That's where I am right now. Just let me show you over here a little where I am. So it's of course November, so that's the calm part of the year. So there are not so many people, not so many tourists now. While I'm here on the Grote Markt. Hi Michelle, also welcome. And if it's pouring with rain, of course, then I think this is alternative, a good alternative to be to be at least virtual in Belgium. Virtual in Antwerp. That's where I am right now. Later today, I will go to another Belgium city to do a different tour. So I thought I have a. The reason is I have a meeting tomorrow in the city of Ghent, or in Dutch we say Ghent, also in Flemish. That's what they speak over here. They also say Ghent, and I thought like on the way there, let's do a tour in Antwerp because I love this city. It's really one of my favorite cities in Europe. So why not stop over here while the train? And this is wonderful. I don't think you can hear it, but I'm hearing the bells in the tower there chiming 5 times. So that means that it's officially 5 p.m. over here, 5 p.m. Belgium time. So that means that I'm starting this tour. So yeah, and the tour in Ghent is in some hours from now. Because of course I still have to travel from here to Ghent and then prepare myself a little because it has been a little longer ago. So yes, and that's a good thing. I hope you can all hear and see me. Welcome everyone in Belgium. My name is Stefan. I'm a tour guide mainly in the Netherlands, but because of COVID, I have been spreading out a little more. So now also doing tours in some of the neighboring countries. So today I'm in Belgium, in the city of Antwerp, to be precise. And Antwerp, to be honest, for a very long time has been part of the Netherlands. They're even speaking the same language in this part of Belgium. So it is. It still feels. It feels different, but also the same. So, and today I'm gonna take you through the city of Antwerp. We're starting over here on the main square. I will take you around, partly walking, but also partly we will take a bicycle. If that works, let's see if it works because uh, all my things are on this phone. So I took a picture with another phone. So hopefully that will work, but that is for later. And then of course I will tell you stories about things, and feel free to ask things because I always love questions because then I can tell a little bit more about where we are and use these questions for the tour. I know, I mean, I'm not from Antwerp, but I think I know quite a lot now because I've been doing tours here several times. So from a lot of the things, I can tell you at least some of the backgrounds, maybe not all the details, but still a lot, and that's even more because it has been part of the Netherlands for quite a long time. So we have some similarities. So I will change the screen. Then you will also see where I'm standing right now. Yeah, you can see it of course already in the background. And then we're gonna start this tour. So enjoy already, and everyone who is just joining, of course, also be very welcome. And let's see where I can change the camera, and there we are. There we are. Okay. And yes, it's also very nice to see and hear. No, not I'm not hearing, of course. That would be too much for me. But to see so many familiar names, and yeah, it is also the golden hour. The days are getting shorter, so you can see the golden hour, the um, all the buildings over here on what we call the grote markt, or like the big markets, the central market in the city. They're almost a little golden. So yeah. And no, Susan, it is not very busy, and that is of course because it is November. November means it's off season. There are not so many tourists right now, so that's also why this square is quite empty. And of course, the weather is quite nice, so there are some people, there are some locals, and look how beautiful the color is. I'm not using any filter while the police car is coming over here. Um, so I'm not using any filter. And that's also nice. The police agents are waving at me. So that's also a little the vibe here in the city. So and the thing is, so the beautiful houses that we're seeing over here on the side of the grote market, or the big market, or the central market, these are what we call the guild houses. And the guild houses meaning that, and we have to go back to medieval times. In medieval times, most of the professions that people had in a city like Antwerp had their own guild, and a guild is sort of a union. So people were doing the same type of job. So think about it like all the coopers, or all the carpenters, or all the traders. They were working together in a union, and why were they doing that? Basically, because of that, they could make sure to have a monopoly on the prices. So if you are working together with all the carpenters, then you can say like, okay, if you want to use our services, then you need a certain price. So that's and you can see that they made quite a lot of money. So because all of these houses, for every house is for another guild, And they were doing this, they were building these houses on the central market, of course, to show how important their guild, how important that profession was. And at the same time, it was also the location where they were where they were making deals, where they doing all kind of trades. So that was all over here inside these guild houses. So that's one side of the market. And also look at the little details. The houses itself are already quite beautiful. A lot of them in like a Renaissance style. And then on top they have some golden elements like an animal or a man on a horse or a lion or a knight. Sometimes it was related to the guild, sometimes just to show off. And it's not only here. Even if I'm going around the corner. And to be honest, Susan, no, they were not using these ones as the workshops. No, they were just for the guilds to do their meetings and to make deals and trades, for example, with other cities. And at the same time, look how beautiful the tower is over here. This is the tower of our beloved lady with the main cathedral. We will go there soon too. And it's really a beautiful color, isn't it? So this is from the light, and I'm just going around a little because we're really lucky with this weather today. Not only with the temperature, but also by how everything is looking over here. And then next to all the guild houses, we also have the main building here on the market. That is the Renaissance style building here at the other side. It doesn't even fit on my phone, as you can see. But this is the City Hall of Antwerp, built in the 16th century. And what you can see, it is quite a big building. 16th century, meaning from 1564 to be precise, or that's the year when it was finished. And it's showing how rich the city of Antwerp was by that time. And the thing is that the city of Antwerp have become quite rich in the 16th century, so between 1500 and 1600. And the main thing was because of trade. So, and for that, we have to go back a little bit. Well, look at the wonderful colors everywhere. It's really beautiful. We are really lucky with this, by the way, because last week it was just raining, raining, raining. It can also be like that. But you can be lucky in November to have these golden hour and see all these buildings like magical. So, no, with the city of Antwerp, has been very powerful for about 100 years. And the main reason why they became powerful is because there was another city in Belgium that's quite a famous city too. And that city was called Bruges, beautiful city. And in the city of Bruges, that was the Venice, what we're saying, the Venice of the North in the 14th and 15th century. And what happened in the 15th century is that the river over there was getting too sandy. So what happened is that most of the trade could not happen anymore because most of the trade was going by the water, over the water. And then all these traders in Bruges, they were searching for another location. And then they found another city nearby, at that time a tiny city named Antwerp, next to a river. So it was a good location to go to. So that's how Antwerp became famous. And then I'm just going around, and they're just asking, are the buildings now apartments? It depends a little per building, to be honest. Some of them are in use as hotels. Some of them are in use for offices. That's the main thing, by the way, offices. And then on the ground floor, for example, they are used for. And in the meantime, they're just turning on the lights now. Also, look how they're turning on the light because it's of course getting dark bit by bit. They're turning on the lights. So no, but most of these buildings are not in use as apartments. We're turning on the lights of the city hall at the same time. And then here in the middle, we see a quite beautiful statue, a huge statue. And to be honest, I don't know, it's under maintenance, but normally it is also a fountain. And on top of the fountain, and that's where I want to talk about a little bit, we're seeing a man. We're seeing a man, and I don't know if you can see it well. Hope your screen most probably is bigger than mine. We see a man. To be precise, this is a soldier. It's even a Roman soldier. And can you see what he is doing? What is this man doing over here? I'm just asking you. Well, we have this wonderful light. We see a man, and he has something in his hand. And let's see if I can zoom in a little so we can see it better. And people are just joining, just very welcome. So, what is this man? He's throwing something. And what is he throwing? He's throwing his. No, this is not his own hand. Look at the size of the hand that he has, Rosalie. He's throwing a hand, but it is a huge hand. It's a huge hand. So this guy over here, or this soldier over here, I said already, it's a Roman soldier. His name was Brabo, and he has a hand in his hand that he is throwing away. Yeah, he's throwing a giant hand. He's throwing a hand of a giant. And this is related. This is related to a beautiful myth about Antwerp, because the myth is saying that a long time ago, at the borders of this city, or like a little village, there was a giant living. This giant was called Antigoon. And Antigoon, he was living on the side of the river. And at the moment that a ship was coming, he was asking for toll. He was asking for toll. And of course, most of the traders, most of the seamen coming to Antwerp, they were paying the toll to this giant, to Antigoon. But sometimes the trader didn't have any money. So at that moment, the giant was saying like, okay, if you cannot pay for this, then I have to cut your hand. So what he did, he was cutting the hands of all the traders that couldn't pay him, and he was throwing their hands in the Scheldt River. So that was the giant Antigoon doing. And this was going on for generations and generations until there was a hero. And this hero named Brabo, he came over here and he said, like, we have to do something about this. So he was starting to fight with the giant. And yeah, he won the fight in the end. And he made it happen. He cut off the hand of Antigoon. And after cutting off the hand, and normally there's even some water dripping out of the hand. So sadly enough, the fountain is not working today. So they're dripping normally water as in blood out of the hand. And he was throwing the hand of the giant in the Scheldt River. So, and to be honest, I'm just gonna show you a little my face for a moment. But to be honest, the story, if you say the Dutch word for hand is hand. And the other Dutch word for throwing is, when I'm throwing something, the Dutch word for that is werpen. Ik werp iets. I'm throwing something. I'm werpen. So hand, werpen. Hand, werpen. And what's the name of the city? Antwerpen. So it's almost the same as throwing a hand. So that's how this beautiful myth, of course it is a myth, is related to the name of the city where I am getting you around today. So, okay. Just change again. So then the last thing, and then we're gonna walk a little bit. Of course, here, the front part of the city hall, not only it is in a beautiful light right now, but there's several flags. There's several flags hanging here on the side. And I don't know if you recognize any of these flags. It's not windy enough to see them completely, but the one over here, for example, that's the blue one with a lot of yellow stars. That's quite a famous one because that is the flag of the European Union. Because, of course, Antwerp, we are here in the European Union. And then the next one, we see a flag over here with black, yellow, and red. That is the flag of Belgium. Exactly, the Belgian flag is in the middle, but there's several other ones. So, for example, over here, oh look, there's some wind coming. There's a beautiful one with all these squares, white, blue, yellow, and red. That is a beautiful one. To be honest, this one over here, it's all from the same territory. So this is from, the flag over here is from the province of Antwerp. So Antwerp is a city, it's also a province. So that's a little area. And then the next one, yeah, you cannot see it right now, is a yellow one. And on the yellow one, we can see the claws. That's the claws of a big lion. That is on this one. That is the flag of Flanders. And Flanders is the northern or Dutch part of Belgium, because we are in Belgium right now. So in the middle, we have Belgium. Belgium is part of the European Union. And then Belgium is divided in two parts. The northern part, the Dutch-speaking part, is Flanders over here. And Flanders has several provinces. One of the provinces is Antwerp, the province of Antwerp. And then the one at the right side with red, white, red, a big white part in the middle, that is the flag of the city of Antwerp. So we have the city, we have the province, we have the part of the country, we have the full country, and we have the whole European Union. So all these 5 flags are over here. So just a little history. Wow, look also how the houses are now. The lights on the houses are so beautiful. Okay. What I want to do, because lots of flags for one time. Yeah, that's true. What I want to do is to take us around. I'm gonna, of course, I can walk, but it's quite a long walk. So I prefer to do that on the Dutch or also the Flemish way. And that is by using a bicycle. So, and of course, I did not bring my own bicycle. That was a little too much. I came here by train earlier today. So what I will do is use one of the rental bicycles that are just on the streets over here. And I'm just gonna try this out with you. So on a lot of locations in the city, you can get a bicycle. So you can just get a bicycle, for example, for 30 minutes or for an hour or for a full day. So I paid about $6 or €5 today. And for that, I can get one of these bikes. Look, there's several people, there's several bikes over here. I just see a lady bringing back one. They're calling Velo Antwerp. They're quite basic, but they're quite good, to be honest. So you have them everywhere over here on the street. And I just have this thing over here. I can get there and get a bike. I just let the lady first get her bike back. Oh, she just has a card. Most probably a local. I don't have that. I just have a code. So I just got a code over here and let's see if it works. It's on another phone. So I have to get here. And then it's saying like, welcome to Velo. And Velo, by the way, is the French word for bicycle. I have to get an ID over here. So I'm not going to show you, of course. So it's 26. Oh no, don't say this out loud. And then 212. Okay, enter. And then I also have a password. So I did my code and then a password. Let's see if it works. It's saying, oh yeah, please take a bike from lock number 20. Okay, let's see. We're going for 20. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's a little further away. So there are lots and lots of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18. 19 is missing. And here, this is our beautiful red and white velo bike. And yes, I can see there's a green light over there, meaning that's unlocked. So, yeah, I'm in. Oh, it even has a bell. Okay, it has a bell, it has a light. So it's a perfect bike to take us around. So look at this. I even can bring something here in the front so I can have my bag over there. But of course, it's also a nice way just to go around. It has handbrakes, by the way. Yeah, and the seat can be adjusted, to be honest. You can see the heights of the seats. Some of them are higher than the other ones. So, and you can basically find these bicycles on a lot of locations in Antwerp. So, let's go. Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. The seat height is perfect for me. So, as I think for someone from Belgium that's also not so tall. The light works. Okay, let's go around. Over here, it's still a little the busy part, or the busier part of the city. So we will take some side roads. It's good that you like red, me too. And oh, look at the meantime at this beautiful tower over here. So I just have to make sure that I'm not hitting anyone. So the good thing, it has handbrakes. So I have one hand left. So of course, one hand I'm using for my gimbal and my camera. Okay, there we go. Woo! Okay. It's really a good thing that it's not so busy at this time. So we have a smaller place over here, a smaller square. A smaller square. So let me go around. I still see some people sitting outside. Oh, it even has a, I see my bicycle has a stand, so I can just place it over here. And then we're standing here in front of the Cathedral of Antwerp with the highest tower of the city. So this tower over here from the cathedral, by the way, they're starting to build this cathedral in 1352. So I'm not so good in numbers, but it's almost 700 years old. By the way, on top of the tower, I'm seeing again the Belgium flag and the European flag. So maybe at the other side they have the other flags too. It's a beautiful, magnificent church, not only from the outside, by the way, also from the inside. And yeah, it took them, by the way, about 150 years to finish this church. And to be honest, to finish, yeah, did they finish? No, they did not finish completely. And we can see that quite easily because the Church of Our Beloved Lady, that's the name. I mean, almost every city has a Church of their Beloved Lady, but you can see it quite easily. Originally, the idea was to have two towers. Only the left one is finished. The right one was not finished. And as with a lot of these times, that was just based on money. So they were building this and then they run out of money. So they never finished the right tower. So that's just halfway, or maybe, yeah, just about halfway, while the left one is completely finished. By the way, a beautiful church, I said it already, also from the inside. So you can find inside a lot of the works of the famous painter Peter Paul Rubens. And we later see, and I will later tell a little more about him. And then at the same time, I have something interesting here in front. So we have the little square here on the side, and then on inside the street, look what we have over here. So inside the street, there is a statue, and there's a statue is literally from a little boy together with a dog, and they're laying here in front of the Cathedral of Antwerp. And there's even a beautiful light now placed on them. So, and they are sleeping like under the paving, isn't it? So, and to be honest, these two, this boy and the dog, are Nello and Patrasche. It's a a beautiful story called A Flanders Dog. Um, and that is about this boy and his dog. And to be honest, we have to go back. It's a 19th century story about a poor guy who is losing his parents at a young age and starting to live together with his grandparents, his grandpa, Johan, in this, or not so far away from the city of Antwerp, just outside in the outskirts. And Johan is a very poor man too. He is the milkman. He's bringing the milk. And then one day, of course, Nello, the boy, he is helping Johan by bringing the milk. And then one day they are finding a dog, a dog that's almost beaten to death. They're finding that somewhere, a very scared dog, and they're deciding to take care of this dog. They're doing that. They're taking care of the dog. And then, of course, the dog really is bonding with Nello. The dog, they're naming dog Patrash. And from that time on, the dog is helping them by bringing the milk. By bringing the milk to all the people. And then I'm just doing a very short story. If you want to have the full story, I did one day tell the story around Christmas time. It's a sad story, but it's also a beautiful story. You can find it on my YouTube too. So, but then one day Johan is dying, and then the landlord is kicking out Nello and Patrice out of his house, and it is cold at that time. And at the same time, Nello is telling that there is an exposition of Rubens, his favorite painter, in the Cathedral of Antwerp. So they're deciding to come over here. They're deciding to come over here, hoping that they can see it. But then the thing is, yeah, Doc of Flanders, thank you for placing the link, Catherine. They are coming over here towards the cathedral, and then they're seeing that they cannot go inside because they have to pay to see the exhibition of Peter Paul Rubens. And it's, by the way, two different paintings, the ascending of the cross and the descending of the cross that they want to see. But they have to pay, and of course they're very poor, so they don't have any money. So they're waiting in the cold in front, and then during nighttime, they're seeing while they are very cold, they didn't have food and drinks for days. And then they're seeing that one of the people who was working in the cathedral left the door open. They're sneaking inside. They're sneaking inside, seeing these magical works. And to be honest, these works of Peter Paul Rubens, they are really beautiful. So if you ever come here, I can really recommend you to go inside this cathedral. They're seeing the paintings. They are sort of like, wow, this is one of the things that Nello wanted to see his whole life. So, but they're so cold, and also even inside the church is so cold. So they are starting to sleep inside the church in front of one of the works of Peter Paul Rubens. And then the next day is the first Christmas day. People are coming inside the church, and then in front of the painting, they're finding a little boy and his dog, both not alive anymore, died because of the cold, just in front of the masterpiece of the painter. So that is, in very short, the story of Nello and Patrache. And because of this famous story, and by the way, it's not so famous in Belgium, it's famous mainly in Asia and in other parts of the world. But it is really a beautiful story about them. And of course also about Antwerp and about this famous cathedral. Okay, that was a lot of talking about this building. Let's get our bicycle again. It's still here. It's still here waiting. So this is the bike. Look at how nice it is. And let's cycle a little more. And by the way, of course, if you have any questions, I just did the very short version of Nello and Patrache. Let's go. And yeah, if you want to hear the full story, as said before, it is on YouTube. I did read it out. I did read it completely for Christmas time, or no, it was also not completely, but at least a version where you have a little more details. Okay. And then here at the side of the church, I mean, the cathedral is now closed, of course, because it is a little later. And then here at the side, they have some statues that are for all the workers and all the people who has been working to build the cathedral, because it took them about 150 years in total. So a lot of people started working on the cathedral, and they never have seen it finished. So okay, let's go here on the side. They have cobblestones, also typical here for this part of Belgium. Lots and lots of cobblestones, or we are having another name for them, by the way, in the Netherlands. Because if you're going over them, it's almost, if I'm just making a sound, it's like going over the cobblestones. I'm not going fast enough now. But we're sometimes calling them in Dutch kinderkopjes, meaning child heads. So we're going over the child heads because that's how they're feeling sometimes when you're going over them. So we're going to the next square, and in this square they're already building up some parts for the Christmas market, because of course this part of the world, Belgium, northern part of Germany, not only northern Germany, and also the southern part of the Netherlands are famous for the Christmas markets. So that's what they're building up here in the middle of the square. I think there's an ice skating hall over here, and then of course all kind of places to buy your Christmas stuff. And here on the side you see all the people still sitting outside. There are heaters above, so you can sit warm outside, and it's of course wonderful to sit over here. While we have over here this beautiful 19th century building, now the Hilton Hotel. And let's go over here. And Evelyn, I don't think it was, I think it was already after Hego time, but it's not really important. I did the full story. And it's also, I mean, we're so lucky now that we see Antwerp by day and also by night. Well, I'm not staying at the Hilton. Let's go here. Okay, that is. So I'm just going here over the street. We're now making our way from the old city center, from the cathedral, to a little more the outskirts of the city center. So bit by bit, we're going from the 15th, 16th, and 17th century up till the 19th and 20th century. So here are some of the more modern buildings. I don't know if we can see it, but there's a beautiful street art over here with the name Antwerpen, Antwerpen, Antwerp. Of course, this story is just a myth. If we look at the name Antwerp, then the official story is that it is an old name for a part in the river, a part of the side of the river where literally the ground is thrown a little. So the throwing is a real part. Is thrown up a little higher in the corner of the river. So, okay, let's see how I'm going here. Of course, it's a little tricky because there's traffic. It's getting rush hour. We have some cars here too. Most parts over here are car free, but not everywhere. Oh, sorry. So, trucks, cars, trams, people on these scooters. And then over here, we're going in the middle part. Since the 1990s, it is a car free. And this is one of the main streets in Antwerp. It's called the Meer. And the Meer is coming from the Dutch word meer. And maybe you know my surname. My surname is Van der Meer, or if I'm saying it in English, is Vandermeer, and that means from the lake. So this is lake. Meer is lake, and we have to go back to the 15th, 16th centuries. This used to be a lake where they were placing the wood. So there was, of course, in these times, a lot of wood that was used for building all kind of things. Think about all the ships that were going all over the world because it was a town of trade, but of course also to build houses and all kind of other things. So they were transporting the wood towards Antwerp, and then they were placing it over here in at Houtmeer, or the wood lake, basically. And then I have a question for all of you. So while you see people are walking here, people are cycling over here, it's really used for different things. But I'm just asking you, maybe one of you knows, why were they placing? So they wanted to use the wood, they wanted to use the logs in the end. Why were they placing that in the water? They were placing it in the water for like 6 months to a year before using that. So I'm just asking a question back. Maybe one of you knows. Well, in the meantime, and of course, they were for shipbuilding. That's true. But yeah, why not just cut the trees and use it immediately to build your ship? Why were they placed in the water for about 6 months to a year? Well, we have a beautiful Baroque type of building over here at the side. Make it fire resistant. Yeah, as long as it is, of course, as long as it is wet, it is fire resistant. But later on to use it, and Sharon is saying warping, and Anna is saying windmills. Okay, that is. I see some interesting. I see some interesting answers. And Fred is saying to season them to using green wood would warp and twist. Okay, let's. Just going to show you my face for a moment because this is a story I knew a little bit about it already, because also in the Netherlands we were doing this a lot, and of course my surname is from the lake. I'm Stefan from the lake. I see now Tricia saying so it can bend. Now, to be honest, the main reason why they were keeping the wood in the water was for conservation reasons. So you can maybe imagine you cut down the tree, and then you cut it down from a wood somewhere. You bring it to the city, and then there were several things that were happening if you were not placing it under the water. The first thing is that, of course, the wood is wet. The wood is wet, and if you let it outside, it would dry too fast. And if it's drying too fast, it can crack, it can warp, and you don't want that because you want nice timber, you want nice straight planks. And if you are just placing it drying outside, then your planks would warp. So that was not the best quality. So that was one thing. The second thing is, then of course, if you have your wood outside, then it could happen that it would start to rotting because of fungi, rotting also because of insects were coming there. As long as you have your wood under the water, then insects would not come there, fungi would not be there, so the wood will stay in a good quality. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing also, and I saw that answer already a little bit, wet wood is a lot easier if you want to saw it. If you want to saw it by hand, if you want to saw it with a sawmill, then with wet wood, that is a lot easier. So that were the three main reasons why they were keeping it in the water for a long time before using it. Of course, it still has to dry later on, but they could control it a lot better after having it in the water for several months at least. So just a history why we had that. By the way, not only in Belgium, we did the same in the Netherlands before using it in sawmills. Okay. Oh, I was talking, I was talking about that famous painter. In Amsterdam, we have the famous painter called Rembrandt. No, but over here we have another guy called Rubens. Nello and Patash were getting over here to see his famous works. And that man, he was already famous at his time. Sadly enough, they don't have lights over here. But Rubens himself, he was living here in the heart of Antwerp. He had his house and working place over here in this beautiful building at the site. Nowadays, it is a museum about him where you can see his working place, where you can see where he and all his the people that were in his guild. So he had a whole guild of painters that were working for him because he was Rubens at his time. He was a celebrity himself. He was the best painter of Antwerp and the surrounding areas, the surrounding regions. So everyone who had enough money was asking Rubens to paint for him. So he was only doing the raw ideas, and then he had a lot of painters working or helpers working for him that were doing the work. And he made a lot of money, as you can see, at how big his house was. And just to give you an idea, the paintings were that Nello wanted to see, the descendants of the cross that you can still find inside the cathedral. He got about 2,400 guilders, Antwerp guilders at that time. And I mean, that's not saying a lot, I think. I mean, we used to have guilders too, but this was in the 17th century. So if it would be today, it would be about 450,000 euros or about $500,000 for just one painting. And he painted only for the cathedral, he painted 3 different ones. So you can imagine, this man was a millionaire. He had enough money. He had enough money to not only being a rich man, but also to have a whole big villa for himself. Nowadays, the museum. Yeah, there was a huge amount of money for just one painting, for sure. Okay, I have to be a little careful because, of course, over here you see there are people walking, a lot of people on the bicycles, cargo bikes everywhere. Welcome to Belgium. Okay, we're going. By the way, I'm just going over. There's a metro line under here, by the way. So not only they have trams and buses, but also a metro line. And we're now going, by the way, over the main shopping street. Hi! Someone was waving. We're going over the main shopping street. And this is also for a lot of people from the Netherlands, this is a famous place to go to. So if you don't want to go shopping in Amsterdam or Rotterdam or in your own city, and a lot of people are going to shop in Antwerp. And as you can see, it's already getting a little in the Christmas lights. I see the stars, I see the little lights here on the sides. And yeah, again, a place. So if I want, I can just bring my bicycle over here. So that's also the system. So you just have to find an open place, an open slot, and then you can place your bicycle back over there. But I'm just, we're not ending here yet because there's a lot more. You see it in the meantime, I said already, there's a lot of beautiful buildings here on both sides. From Renaissance to Baroque to all kind of eclectic buildings. And here at the left side is the building that was built originally when the central station was there of Antwerp. And it used to be the main hotel, the big hotel that you had here in Antwerp. To be honest, nowadays it's not a hotel anymore because it got bankrupt about 10 years ago. Already before COVID, it was not because of COVID. It was the Grand Hotel of Antwerp that was over here. But nowadays it's just in use as office and the under part for shops. So sadly enough, it's not as beautiful as it used to be anymore. But just let me get you a little to the side so I can show you the front part. Then I can also read again what everyone is saying because I have to focus now. Oh, my right brake is not working so well. But look how beautiful the Grand Hotel was. So, and yes, Antwerp is a really a nice place for shopping. That's what a lot of people are doing. Of course, if you're living in London, then maybe this is nothing. But for us, also for a lot of Dutch people, it's quite nearby. Just to give you an idea, I was in the train from Antwerp, and that took me about 2 hours to get from Amsterdam to Antwerp. So it's quite nearby. So these two buildings are also sort of the entrance to the shopping area of Antwerp. And then imagine again that this used to be just a swampy lake because it was also very swampy, a swampy lake where they were placing the logs. So and nowadays this quite rich shopping street, and we're going here to the end. You see the other building, that's where the last building where I will take you to. Okay, let's go around. I'm on my bicycle again. I'm trying to navigate between people, talking to all of you. Be careful. We have to cross now the tram tracks. We have scooters. Oh. Is it cheaper to shop in Antwerp than in Amsterdam? It's about the same prices, I think. It's about the same prices for us, and of course they also have the euro over here because that's all over Europe nowadays. We have the same currency. So it's quite easy, but it's more like, it's a different vibe. Of course, there are different shops, so not everything is the same. Oh, as you can see over here, I'm not the only one on a velo bike. There are a lot of other people also using it, so it's quite a successful thing. So let's get. This is rush hour on the bike in Antwerp. Woo. See all the people over here. Woo. Okay, I'm talking a little less. And then here at the right side, by the way, if you're looking at the shops, you see diamonds, Ricky diamonds, Diamond International, diamonds, more diamonds, diamonds. Okay, the Kentucky Fried Chicken and more diamonds. So it's really the diamond area when we are heading towards. Okay, let me see. I'm just going to the side because there's a big bus coming. Okay, just have to be a little careful here. Oh, they're doing maintenance of the bicycles over here. Oh, I see. There's a bicycle place over here. So, and we're at the end for the bike tour at least. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place the bike inside here. So I'm placing it back. Then I have to walk towards the place over here. Oh, look at that. I'm not going in there. I'm not going in there. It went wrong several times before. So I just have to bring the bike back. I have to show my code again. So let's do that. So you have to show my code. 2, 6, 8. Okay, I should. It's correctly, so I did it. Okay, it was a great bike tour. Now we're not ready yet. So if you still have some time, we have a beautiful Ferris wheel over here next to Antwerp Central Station, a beautiful building from 1905. Quite old too. Oh, this is quite nice, isn't it? I hope you're enjoying this, by the way. There's so much to see and to show over here. That's always the issue. And of course, next to a central station, look at the number of these bicycles that are over here. This is the bike that we also had. So there are hundreds and hundreds of these bikes. A lot of locals are using them. And you don't even have to be a local because, of course, I'm not a local. You just need a credit card and everyone can just rent one. Okay, so it's a lovely place, isn't it? Wow, the Ferris wheel. And then at the side we have Antwerp Central Station. And wow, look, think about it. At the time that they were building this, 1905, they started about 10 years earlier. So it was not 150 years like the other cathedral. But yeah, they were building this 1905, and that was not so long after the train became really a big thing in England, and then several European cities wanted to have their own train station because that was modern life. Modern life, you were not going with your carriage anymore. Now you were taking the train to go from location to location. So they were building a terminus, so an end station here in Antwerp called Central Station, Centraal Station, in like a beautiful style by a French, a French-speaking architect, and it's a quite beautiful station. And we're not ready yet with it, so. But yeah, it looks a lot older than it is, and the interesting thing that the architect who designed this building, he was inspired by a lot of other European buildings. So Italian buildings, French buildings, Dutch buildings, and he used different styles for this very eclectic building. Okay, let's go inside. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna give you a little view here over the square with the Ferris wheel. I think the Ferris wheel is not fitting. No, it's not fitting completely, but it's quite colorful with all these lights. And then, of course, also here at the side, by the way, is the Antwerp Zoo. That's for another time. Let's go inside this building. Okay, going through the doors, and then here on top, it's a little hard to see. There is a window on top. Maybe reminds you a little bit of the style that you have in Italy. The famous building in Rome. Look at this. Look at this. So there is I'm now in the central hall. The central hall with like a dome on top. A dome on top, like, and the light is coming, of course, during daytime through the windows on top. And then I'm just going down a little. So you have the stairs over there. In the time of building, you still had, and exactly, Fran, well, I didn't want to say it. I was just waiting until someone was saying like, oh, it has a little, the style of the Pantheon in Rome. And yes, that was one of the inspirations of the architect, the Pantheon in Rome. But not only that, there was also several other buildings. Even here, the dome here on the side, again, you see some parts that are looking a little like the Italian Pantheon. But of course, the Pantheon is 2,000 years old, while this building is only 120 years old. So it's a lot newer than the Pantheon. But you have to imagine that in the time of building, we still had the first class, the second class, and the third class. And the first class, that was the high class for the people that could pay a lot more. Then we have the second class for the average people, and there was a third class, and that was for the poor guys. And they all had their own entrances. And for example, these stairs over here, they were only for the people that were booking a first class ticket. Nowadays, everyone can use it. And then here on the right side, so I'm just going to show you a little more of this building. Hopefully you still have 5 to 10 minutes more so I can show you a little more. We have a beautiful cafe. Let's go inside. It's called the Royal Cafe. This was for the people that were booking first class. Oh, it's closed now. Okay, I can show you a little inside. I think there's another door. Look how wonderful this is. This is, we're now going from Rome almost to like a more like a French style. So, more like a French style as if the King of France or Napoleon or something like that was over here. So, that is a completely different style than the Pantheon, of course. But yeah, it is very ornate. That is the right word for this. And then, of course, it's still a station. So we have this huge part over here, the hall. And it is just about 66 meters wide. Originally, there were 10 train tracks here next to each other. And 186 meters long. So that is about 200 feet wide and about, 600 feet long. So it is it's quite big. And this is not very different from a lot of other older stations. Older stations where the roof is quite high. And the roof is quite high because in the old times you had, of course, not the electrical trains that we have right now, but these were all steam trains. And the steam trains that there was a lot of steam coming out of the trains. So they needed fresh air so the steam could just be on top of the tunnel. That's why they were making it so high. And then all the glass everywhere. It's beautiful, exactly. The steam could raise. And then, of course, we are in Antwerp. The hand is the sign of Antwerp. And they have a beautiful sculpture also over here on the side. And it is, do you see a hand or do you see something else? If we're looking at this sculpture, because I think it's quite, it's nicely done. Because it can also be an animal. It looks a little more if we are going to the side. Exactly, Susan. It can be a dove, where the fingers are the side of the dove, and the thumb is the head of the dove. So it's I think, a beautiful sculpture. Just a symbol again of Antwerp. And then over here we have the coat of arms of the city, and let's zoom in a little bit. We see the original castle that was depicting Antwerp, and again on the top, look at the two little hands that are floating on top. So we see again the hands of the giant Antigoon, also in the coat of arms of the city of Antwerp. So this was the entrance of the station. Originally, by the way, it was a terminus. So the train tracks were ending over here. But then the thing is that the city was getting more and more busy. There were more and more trains coming over here. And the thing is that Antwerp is a city that is somewhere in between Amsterdam and Paris. Not completely halfway, that's more Brussels. But it was on the route. So they decided to make the international train tracks under here. So if we now look down, then we see that there are several layers of trains. And if I zoom in a little, you see that there's a tunnel under there, a tunnel with train tracks. You see different levels, 1, 2, 3. There are 4 levels of trains just above each other. And the one at the bottom, and also the two ones at the bottom, that are built in a giant tunnel that is going under Antwerp Central Station. So nowadays, it is not a terminus anymore. You can just go through. You can take the fast train from here to Amsterdam. That's 1.5 hours. Or you can go to Paris. That's almost 2 hours. So a little over 3 hours in between Amsterdam and Paris with the fast train. And to be honest, it's about 600 kilometers, so it's about 400 miles between these two cities. And with the fast train, it's going quite fast. And Sharon is asking, I hope it's earthquake proof. Now, the good thing of this part of the world that we don't have earthquakes. We don't have earthquakes over here, so that will not happen. In the meantime, I'm just going. No, don't go down over here. I'm just gonna take you down. It is of course rush hour at 6 p.m. So a lot of people are coming home, or of course leaving their office to get home. Let's see. I just have to take the right escalators. Okay, let's go over there. We're going down. Of course, right side standing, left side walking, or that's how it should work. Dankjewel. Merci. I'm just saying it in different languages because officially Belgium has three official languages. My country only has one. Oh, two. To be honest, two. But in Belgium they have three. They have Dutch, of course, that is the first language, together with French. But they also have German. 3 official languages. So just going down a little bit more. We still have signal. That's of course the other thing. I'm just going down, and by the way, we are going down to the lowest level. That's about 60 feet. So about 20 meters under where we were before. There are more trains over here. I don't know where they're going, but I know the train to Paris and Amsterdam is going on this level. Whew. It's quite a lot of walking and cycling to get you everywhere. But yeah, it took them about 10 years, by the way, to build this station, to have the tunnels under. And then nowadays, look how beautiful it is. If you take the train and if you're arriving in Antwerp, this is how I was arriving earlier today. Then you're getting out of your train, and then this is what you see. You see it's like that you are arriving in a cathedral. Because just above you, you have this. You're looking at the top, and you have basically the second cathedral in Antwerp. So it's quite a beautiful way of arriving in the city of Antwerp. Or of course, and that is why I'm also ending over here this tour, I have to go to another city because I will travel to the city of Ghent, and that is about 35 minutes by train from here for another tour later today. So I hope you enjoyed it to be with me. I know it was a lot of information, a lot of talking to go from one cathedral to another cathedral, so ending at Antwerp Central Station. So a friend is saying my grandmother was from the Wallonian part of Belgium. That is the French-speaking part, so that's the southern part of Belgium. So that's the other language. So I hope you enjoyed it, to see Antwerp a little in the sun in the golden hour, and later on even a little bit in the dark. I will now make my way to Ghent, or in Dutch we say Ghent, and over there I will do a second tour. So there will be another tour this evening. Of course, if you enjoyed it, you can still buy me a coffee or use a PayPal link. There's several links. So because that's the way how I can keep on doing this. And of course, in the second tour, I will tell you a little more about Belgium, about the country where we are, about another beautiful town of Ghent that will a little more medieval even than what we have seen over here. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again on my next trip in Belgium, the city of Ghent. Okay, bye bye, and thank you everyone for joining me, and see you soon. Bye bye.